The investigation into the arson and murder of local Morgantown businessman Jimmy Michael in his home is heating up.
Jimmy was dead before the fire had even been started, and he not died in the fire.
Detectives have learned of the affair between Jimmy's wife Shelley and his best friend and employee Bobby Jordan. But they're not doing a victory dance just yet.
They brought them both in at the same morning to question them, and they made sure that Bobby and Shelley saw each other in the waiting room before they were called into respective interviews. It was decided to interview Bobby first.
But Coach Bobby doesn't put up much of a defense.
Within a couple of minutes, Bobby had broken down like a little child. He was weeping and sobbing and admitting the affair and coming clean.
After several rounds of questioning, police find no evidence that Bobby had any hand in his friend's death.
Bobby had a very solid alibi. He was seen by the office manager at Jimmy's medical company. His alibi was very, very corroborated, and we didn't have any issues with the story that he gave us.
But that still leaves one other player on the field.
Shelley Michael.
When police question Shelley, little does she realize that her lover has been working from a different playbook.
Have you ever had an affair with him?
No.
Why do you think Bobby would say that? He's had sex with you. He's had an affair with you.
I have no idea.
We talked about the affair, and she denied it.
I have no idea why I would say that.
100 times. She denied it. Never had an affair. So we get the receipt from the hotel, we get the pictures, we get Bobby's statement, we put it in front of her, and then she says, well, I just don't want you to think I'm a bad person.
Well, it's a little too late for that. And investigators have a hunch of Shelley's true motive for killing her husband.
Recently, Jimmy had taken out a $500,000 life insurance policy, and she was the sole beneficiary.
Not to mention, this is one person who knows the deadly effects of rocuronium.
Shelley used rocuronium daily for operations. She was on the ICU, so it was freely available on her phone.
But there is still one thing stopping investigators. On the morning of the blaze, Shelley reported to work at the hospital.
During my first conversation with Michelle Michael, she tells me I never left the hospital after I got there sometime after 6 o'clock that morning.
And you're at the hospital by what time?
I think I was there by 6:10 or 6:15.
Did you go by your house?
I did leave the hospital.
But after a quick timeout, officials get a little help from instant replay.
We were able to go back to the hospital to document through video what time she arrived, which was sometime after 6 o'clock that morning. And then sometime after 8 o'clock, we watch her exit the hospital, and then 17 minutes later, she arrives back. We have 17 minutes of her day once she leaves the property that we can't account for.
So was that really enough time for Shelley to have driven home, lit the fatal fire, and returned to work as if nothing happened?
A detective in the squad went out several times and timed the route. No matter what time of the day he drove the route, it didn't ever take him anywhere near 17 minutes to do this.
With seconds left on the clock, it's game over for Shelley Michael.
We had a very strong case against Shelley, and that led to the warrant being issued and her being arrested.
On March 10th, 2006, Shelley Michael is arrested for Jimmy's murder. What really happened that fateful November morning may never fully be known. But prosecutors have their ideas.
Well, prosecutors believe that Shelley killed Jimmy Michael sometime between 11:30 Sunday night and 5:30 Monday morning. She was a nurse, so it would have been very easy for her to grab a syringe and fill it with rocuronium and inject Jimmy, and if he felt anything, it would have been like a little mosquito bite. Then for the next 11 or so minutes, who knows what Shelley was doing? Was she talking to him? Was she taunting him? Was she telling him what she was going to do with his money? Nobody will ever know. Then just before she leaves, she turns on the iron, leaves it on, hoping it's going to set the whole place on fire and get rid of the evidence. Then she leaves.
But unlike Shelley's other bad ideas, this one doesn't quite catch fire.
Well, Shelley's working on her pediatrics floor. She's looking at her watch the whole time, expecting somebody to come in and give her the news that her house is on fire. But nothing happens. By around 8 o'clock or so, she thinks that she's better sneak back home and reset the fire. Detectives believe she probably used an exhilarant to pour it over Jimmy and the bed.
Secrets and lies can fan the flames of passion. But it takes pure evil to light that match. On July 20th, 2007, Shelley is convicted of the first-degree murder of Jimmy Michael and sentenced to life in prison.
A mother's love never changes for her children. It never fades. People say you get over things. You never get over it. You just learn how to live with it. My life has changed forever.
I think Shelley saw her and Jimmy and the 4 children as being the all-American family. They were both coaches for their respective football and cheerleading teams. They did everything right. I think that she felt that police would never suspect her of killing her husband in such a way.
When it comes to a healthy marriage, it's important to exercise some caution. After all, affairs can be such a workout.
Great sentence.
And you can never underestimate the benefit of a good partner. But just remember, every man has his weaknesses, no matter how sizable he may appear. And some people have to learn the hard way that an unfit lover can be very harmful to your health. Our next story takes place in